there's this feeling of indecision that you're coming out of. And you are right at the peak of whatever this thing is. It must be that you've been experiencing this back and forth mentally for quite some time. The number 2 is significant. So for some of you here, it could have been 2 months, 2 days, 2 years. You could be alive path 2, also 1111. You could be born in the second. The number 2 is a pattern I'm picking up numerology wise. And then the number 24 could be another number, another sequence that you are familiar with or you may be seeing quite often, which will equal 6. 22, 24. The number 6 could also be relevant here as well. A lot of 6s, a lot of 2s, and a lot of 4. There is something, like I said earlier, that has been going on mentally for you. I don't even think that a lot of people around you are keen to what this thing is. This may be something very internalized, okay? You feel maybe a need for some kind of a new experience and you feel pulled towards it. I see someone who knows that something is coming, or they feel a shift is coming, or they feel ready for a shift, or they are going back and forth as to what do I need to align with? What do I need to come together with? What do I need to bring together? What do I need to do for whatever this thing is that I'm feeling to come in? So that's the energy I feel like you're in. It's something about how do I piece these two things together? What do I need to do? Is there something missing? What am I not seeing? So you may be very much in that state of being, but with the patterns and the choices that you're making, or the choices that you're soon to make, there is a potential here for the ending of that cycle and the coming in to a new cycle. I want to let you know, whoever I'm speaking to, you are definitely intuitive. Intuition is a key part of this. So what I'm going to do for you here today is I'm going to use my own intuitive pattern reading abilities to help you connect the dots. And hence that may help you, that may enlighten you. You're able to piece the puzzle together for yourself, able to align the patterns, recognize what needs to be, what needs to change, what needs to come together. You have the power within you to welcome whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest. The first thing I picked up for you were the numbers. I want you to keep an eye on those numbers when they show up in your life, because they probably are showing up already. The number 2 is all about harmony, is all about balance, is all about union. All right. So there is something about balance and union and harmony that your soul is seeking right now internally. Everything that comes to be in our lives physically all begins from the inner world. And your soul right now is realigning things, shifting things within you to bring about harmony, internal harmony. Now, the number 4 is about community. It's also about coming together. 4 is also about stability and protection. Like I said earlier, everything that comes to be externally begins internally. As above, so below, as within, so without. There are things that are coming together within you that are also meant to be protected within you as well. Things that are meant to be honored and sacred. There are parts of you that are coming together in your inner world. And that is going to play out in your external reality, because whatever is coming together inside of you right now has a key part to what is going to be manifesting outside of you as well. Now, the number 6, because we talked about 2, we talked about 4, 6 is about balance. It's also about love and connection as well. That 6 energy is key because that is the fruition. That becomes the prediction. That becomes the reality you're going to see. Again, we're going to look at the patterns, piece the puzzles together. There is an internal harmony that you are to honor within yourself. There might be this process of coming together, that intimacy with yourself, getting closer with yourself, trusting yourself, believing in yourself, honoring that part of yourself, and then sharing that with the world around you. So in some cases, this could look like, for example, someone who is learning how to love themselves, how to honor who they are and all that they are first, internally, get to know themselves, get to believe in themselves. Because when they get out there to connect with other people, they're then able to share that with others. Because only when we're able to love ourselves, believe in ourselves, then only we can believe in the connections that come into our lives. We can feel safe in those connections. We can feel confident in those connections. We can also equally honor those connections. But that all begins internally. So there's something that you are potentially balancing within your psyche, within yourself, within your inner world. And you have been in the process of shifting. Sometimes when we're going through that shift internally, there's a lot that is happening externally as well. Some of you may have felt the need to pull away. Some of you may have felt the need to journal quite a lot, or maybe learn. I see someone here who could be in the process of reading a lot or feeling this need to research, because there's this hunger or this yearning and longing for the answers. Now, because that's going on inside of you, externally, that also shows up, because whatever is happening within us is showing up externally. With that being said, you may have been drawn to learning, reading, watching content, or taking on things that could bring you that answer. But I'm here to share with you that that answer is within you. Yes, the things externally can contribute to the wisdom, but ultimately that answer is within us. And if you've been confused as to what's been going on, that is a pattern that I sense here for you. A lot of thinking, a lot of processing. You may have also felt that it was a bit challenging to make decisions. You may have been struggling to be decisive in certain aspects in your life. Physically, this could have shown up in avoidance. So maybe you felt that people were being more avoidant of you, or maybe that was from your end, right? When we're in this indecisive state of mind internally, we're not able to decide. Therefore, indecision becomes a theme. It becomes a part of the puzzle, whether it's coming from us or it's coming from others. So that could have been something that you may have noticed, struggling to decide, or people around you being in that energy, because everyone is a mirror to everyone. The key thing here is that you are remembering, okay? You're very intuitive. You're deeply, deeply intuitive, and that is your power. If you have been struggling to make sense of things, if you have been struggling to bring things together, to understand, why is this happening? What do I need? I feel this change happening. I feel called to go into something new. But it's right there. I just can't put my finger on it. The reason why is you have been using the mental side, which is great. The mind is necessary for the human existence. But this chapter, this alignment is calling for you to tap into your psyche, calling for you to tap into the intuitive side of yourself, of your psyche, calling for you to tap more into your soul. I'm being taken to the archetype of Neptune, which is the planet that rules over Pisces, which is connected to the 12th house in astrology. And the 12th house in astrology is the subconscious part of our being. That is where all things are birthed, because it's the subconscious. We all have it in our birth chart. When you're born, you have your date of birth, your time of birth, your location of birth. You look into your chart. We all have 12 houses. The 12th house tells us a lot about what goes on behind the scenes subconsciously. That part of your chart is being activated right now. Some of you could be going through a 12th house perfection year. Some of you could be very dominant in Pisces. Some of you could have a significant Neptune transit going on for you, maybe in the 12th house. But there's something there. Wherever you have Pisces in your chart, that is being activated right now, because your spiritual side of yourself has been very dormant. But that's what's needed. You may have been like, why can't I figure this thing out? Why can't I shake this off? That is because the part of you that is needed, the part of you that is awakening right now, is very crucial for the next era of your life. Think about it. When we connect with other people, we're not just using our minds. We're also using our soul, our intuition. Essentially, we're all connected on a soul level. Yes, the mind is there, and the mind is calculating and subtracting and doing all the logical stuff. We are all spirits and souls having a human experience. So ultimately, at the foundation of it all, we are soul connecting with each other. So there is that part of you that is awakening now, which is that soulful energy, that intuitive side. There is this message I'm picking up in terms of your power. You have a very intelligent mind. On the other side of that, you also have a very strong intuition. You may not be so keen to that, but you're very intuitive. And together with this powerful mind, alongside this potent intuition, you are a powerhouse. And when it comes to connecting with the world around you, that is a power you can keep within you and you can carry into the connections you have. There is this intuitive side, this mystical, magical, soulful, deeply in tune, emotionally deep side of yours that has been maybe overlooked in some ways, deeply buried in your subconscious in some ways, boxed in, locked in. I'm seeing something locked into a room in a box. And so right now, you've peeked into this place where you've been using your mind for so long, and you've mastered that. This magical, intuitive side of yours that has been deeply buried within your subconscious, this is a past life gift. Yes, this is a past life gift. Meaning, in a past life, you have been a deeply intuitive person. What I'm getting here, pattern-wise, is this lifetime, you may have noticed, you may have some strong Gemini, some strong Mercury energy. So, for example, you could have Gemini in your 12th house. You could have Mercury in your 12th house even, or may have that dominant in your chart. You could have a stellium in Gemini, Pisces, significant Neptune aspect in Mercury in your chart. There is this awakening right now that I'm getting here in terms of your past life ability. In a past life, it appears to me that you've mastered intuitive side. Walk with me. Just like we're talking about how analytical and how intelligent and how logical, how cerebral you are in this current time and throughout this incarnation, you have had that equivalent spiritually, intuitively in the past life. One of the things you may have noticed is even though maybe earlier on in your life you weren't so drawn to intuitive, or you may not have had that deeply spiritual sort of intuitive psychic experience, but have always known things and have always just felt like maybe certain things just came to you naturally. That's because there's always been a key connection to a past life experience. So even though you had this very logical way of thinking and being very intelligent, you also had this natural awareness of the intuitive things, of the mystical things, maybe the kind of movies you were drawn to, the kind of books you're drawn to, the kind of stories and people and places you're drawn to, had the element of that mysticism or spirituality or things of that nature. Maybe you've drawn in people like that. Maybe people like myself, you're watching this, in that lane, right? That intuitive, spiritual lane or whatnot. You have had this natural connection or draw to this sort of energy. That is because, again, pattern connection here, you've done this in a past life. You've mastered the more mystical. So you came into this lifetime, all of these years, mastering the logical side. Now remember I talked about the number 2 coming together here, bringing things together, harmony, which is the logical side of yourself, as well as the spiritual side of yourself, the soul and the mind coming into harmony. That is why earlier on, I was picking up that number 2 and I talked about harmony, but internal harmony. That could be what this is for you, this magical side of yourself coming together with the logical. You may notice that when you look into your birth chart, you have your south node in one of the water houses in your birth chart. You could have it, maybe your south node in Pisces, your south node in Cancer or Scorpio. You could also have it in the 4th house, the 8th house, the 12th house. I'm going to name a few charts here. That could be showing up in your tropical chart. Okay, that is just a basic birth chart. You could also see it in your 9th harmonic chart. Okay, the 9th harmonic chart. Or you can notice this when it goes into Vedic astrology, because what I just mentioned previously was tropical Western astrology. Now in Vedic, it could be in your D1 Rashi chart. in those houses, right? 4th, 8th, 12th, or in water signs, or in your Navamsha chart, your D9 Navamsha, the same sequence follows. You are someone that has swam in those deep waters in a past life. This lifetime, you were here to master the more logical side of yourself, using your mind, understanding the more mental side of life. And some of you may have seen this show up in your physical reality where school could have been a big thing. You could have had family members who were so big on education and learning things and picking up skills. All right, so that could be one way that shows up for you, or that has shown up for you. And now there's this inner discomfort or mental discomfort where you feel for some time now that something is missing, that you're either that or you're ready for a different thing, or something isn't quite answering a question. Maybe you've always looked at life through this mental lens of, I've always been able to figure everything out with my mind. But what is in front of me now, or what I'm experiencing right now, it feels like there's more. The mind is giving me the answer, but I don't feel satisfied. I feel like I need more. I feel like I need to tap into a part of myself. Like the answers are just not resonating for you mentally, and that there's more to it. For some of you, it could look like, I have it on paper, like things look very clear to me on paper, but there's just a depth that I'm missing. There's something deeper that I feel like is not quite there. There's almost this energy of like an empty space, like a hole to the equation. And I should feel satisfied. I should feel like, okay, I'm good at where I'm at, or I'm good with the outcome or the answers, but something doesn't feel that way for me. That is how some of you have been feeling. And that is because there is a shift. That is because there is a need to tap into something that has been buried in your subconscious, something that is connected to your soul, a soul remembrance, a gift that you've earned in a past life that needs to be included in this next part of your journey. That is what this pattern and this experiences and these puzzles have been putting together for you. And so with that number 2, again, it's all about the coming together of the mind and the soul, the sacred union. Now moving into the number 4, which is what I spoke about as well, 2, 4, and 6, numbers that you could be seeing, or numbers that add up to 2, numbers that add up to 4, numbers that add up to 6. For example, some of you could see 411 or 114. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 4 is 6. So you could be seeing those sort of things, okay? Now the number 4, this is all about stability. This is all about protection. This is all about grounding ourselves. As you come into the sacred union of your mind and your soul, this brings you that stability. Remember what I said earlier of struggling with this emptiness or something that isn't quite satisfying, right? You may have been in this place of, I've always trusted the logical side. I've always done things this way, but it looks like what I've been doing isn't quite doing it for me, isn't quite satisfying. Maybe you've always just approached life in a very cerebral way, and it's just not hitting the same. Now that you're allowing yourself to surrender. Now the keyword surrender is coming through here. When we think of the archetype of Neptune, which we spoke about, with the patterns that we've been recognizing here, Neptune, Pisces, the 12th house, that is the realm of surrendering, because it's the subconscious. We are not in the subconscious to force anything. When you think about the 12th house is where the ego gets to, goes into be dissolved. It gets dissolved. This is the place where we have to surrender to our souls, trusting ourselves intuitively. So therefore, when we think of the archetype of Pisces, wherever you have Pisces in your birth chart, when we think of Neptune, wherever you have Neptune in your birth chart, or when we think of the 12th house, there is a theme of surrender, and that is what I'm picking up here for you. There's something that is surrendering within you, something you're being called to surrender right now, to allow you to be open and to be more receptive of the side of yourself that you may have overlooked, or you may just have not noticed, or may have just been sitting in dormant in the background. You are opening up to it, and that requires surrender, because when we're in the mind a lot, sometimes we are trying to use a lot of mental energy, this is a part of you that is requiring a lot more relaxation, a lot more surrender. And the more you surrender into it, the more it aligns. Therefore, you get into that balance, that number 2, and then you move into the number 4. Number 4 is all about being grounded and feeling rooted and protected. So as you align internally, as you find that inner harmony, as you begin to trust this side of yourself, be more vulnerable and open to this new side of yourself, and not just this new side of yourself, because it isn't quite new, it's just you remembering this side of yourself, trusting that, believing in that internal balance and that harmony between your mind and your soul, you're going to feel inherently protected and grounded. There's a reason why your soul wanted to, or is wanting to, awaken this side of yourself. Perhaps it's part of what protects you through your human existence, having not just the mind, but also having the intuition to guide you as you move into what is to come, which puts me into the number 6, because I talked about 2, I talked about 4, I talked about 6. 6 is where that shows up in your physical reality. This is where we're looking into the relationships, because you have significant relationships that you are meant to come into in this lifetime. Friends, colleagues, people, just in general, connections. And perhaps for some of you here, you are meant to work with other people. There is something significant that others are meant to share with you, and you are meant to share with other people. But like I said, going back to the number 2, until we have that internal balance and that harmony, that relationship, that harmony with ourselves, then we're able to have that harmony and connection with other people. But if there is that push and pull and that disconnection internally, then how are we going to have that connection with other people if we're not able to see ourselves as this intuitive being, this soulful being, as well as this intelligent being? We're not able to see, feel, and experience that with other people or in other people. That is at number 6, relationships, connections. And like I said, some of you are supposed to work with other people. You're meant to share certain gifts with other people, and they're meant to share something with you. All right? But you don't want to go into connections where you feel like you're lacking something, right? You feel like there's a sense of insecurity. So with you, you're coming in solid because you have this mind, this amazing mind that you've mastered. You also have this intuition. And with those 2 things combined, you're coming from a place of wholeness, and you're also pouring from a cup of fullness. You're not projecting anything into the future connections of the people around you. You're not pouring any sort of unhealthy or distorted projections. When we are struggling to trust our intuitions and we're not coming from that place of wholeness intuitively, we may be projecting that onto other people. When other people are moving with their intuition, we may be upset about that. We may be turned off by that. We may feel scrutinized by that. But when we are well grounded in our own intuition, we know who we are. We trust ourselves. Therefore, when other people are in their own energy intuitively, we hold space for them. We feel comfortable. We're not threatened by that. And this is what you've been sort of balancing internally. Remembrance is a key thing for you, so that you remember this subconscious, the spiritual part of yourself. It comes into harmony with your mind, which then helps you feel grounded. It helps you feel rooted, protects you. You feel grounded. Therefore, when we feel grounded, when we feel rooted, we feel protected. We're ready for the world. Then we get out into the number 6, those connections, those relationships. They're here to pour something into us. We're here to pour something into them, and that helps the world. You know, it helps us, it helps the world, and that is truly what that soul connections are all about. That is what is going on for you. So yet again, you may have been feeling mental discomfort, and that is because there is something else that is opening up inside of your subconscious. Surrendering and allowance is key here. If you have the opportunity to look into your birth chart, look at those placements and all of the things I mentioned, and know that you have key connections that are in the works for you. You are manifesting the closing out of this difficult mental push and pull you've been in. And you're moving into a new cycle of connection, balance, harmony, not just inside of yourself, but externally. I hope this message serves you well. I will see you all soon. Bye for now.